Hello dear students. Today we are going to start our last topic in the motions chapter, and that will be the derivation of the motions equation, in which we are going to see the two remaining equation and we are going to prove that equation from the graphical representation method. Okay, but going on there, let us take a brief preview on what we have studied in this lecture. So in behalf of Vidyadhish Vidya Sankul e-learning classes, I welcome you all of. Okay, and we are going to start with the brief summary of this chapter that we have already finished. Okay, so first of all, we have seen in this chapter that what is the motion, what will be the types of motion, in which we have seen the basic definition regarding the motion in universe. All of the things are moving around the something that will be considered as the motion. So we have seen that. Afterwards, we have seen the types of motion, in which we have seen the subcategories of the motion, but basically we can consider the types of motion in the two categories, and that will be the uniform motion and the non-uniform motion. Okay, also we have seen the subcategories of the motion, and that will be the translatory motion, circulatory motion and periodic motion. But in the non-uniform motion and the uniform motion, we can consider that whatever the equal amount of distance covered in equal amount of time, that can be considered as the uniform motion, while the non-equal amount of distance will be covered in non-equal amount of time, that can consider in the non-uniform motion. So we have seen that in the types of motion. Afterwards, we have started the basic concept regarding the some of the quantities in the physics, that will be the distance, displacement, speed, velocity. But going on there, before we going on there, we have seen that what is the scalar quantity and what is the vector quantity. So the quantity which can be only represented by its magnitude can be considered as a scalar quantity, and we have seen that the mass is the quantity that can only represented by giving the magnitude. It does not require any kind of direction. Okay, so if the quantity which can be represented by the magnitude and the direction both, then it will be considered as the vector quantity. Okay, so we have studied that scalar and vector quantity. Afterwards, we have seen the distance quantity in the physics. So in which we have seen the basic definition regarding the distance. We have seen that the actual length that I covered from one place to another place, and if I measure the actual length of that can be said to be as a distance. So distance doesn't require a magnitude. So we can say that distance is basically a scalar quantity, while displacement is the shortest change of position in my in my position, that can be considered as the displacement. So if I change my place from one place to another and afterwards another, and then I came back to what is the shortest amount of distance that I have covered, that can be considered as the displacement. So for the measuring the displacement, I need the direction, and that's why it can be considered in a vector quantity, because if I want to explain you, then I have to give you the direction, that my first place is at north direction, then I came back to south direction, then again I goes to the north direction, and now what is the change of my position? Can you measure that? So if you measure that, then it can be gives us the displacement. How you measured that? Because I have given you the direction regarding that. So from that perspective, we can say that the displacement is the quantity which can represented by the direction and magnitude both. So we can say that it is a vector quantity. Afterwards, we have seen the speed. Also, we have seen the distance and displacement SI unit, standard international unit. So it is basically a meter. Okay, we are going to see the speed. Now what is the speed? So whatever the distance covered in a particular time, if I measure both and if I define with some kind of ratio, that can gives us the speed. That if I travel in a 5 km per hour, that it signifies us that if I travel on a 5 km per hour speed, then I covered the 5 km of distance in 1 hour. Okay, so the speed will signify us that whatever the distance I have traveled in whatever the time amount I have taken. Also we have seen what is the velocity. So if the speed will be considered in a particular direction, then it can be said to the it is said to be it is a velocity. So if I traveled in a north direction in a 30 km/h, then I have given you the speed and also I have given you the direction. So it both represent as the quantity called as a velocity. Okay. Afterwards, we have seen the acceleration that I have not written here. So acceleration is the quantity that can signifies us that whatever the direction I have changed during the speed, okay, if I change the direction during the speed, that can it represent as the acceleration. We have seen the types of graphs also, in which we have seen the distance time graph, displacement time graph, velocity time graph. Okay, in previous lecture we have seen that how graphs will be drawn, and after drawing the graphs we have taken the initial velocity, and today we are going to also draw same graph because I want to explain you the two equations regarding that. So first we are going to this is the all the slides we have already studied. We are going to the last slide, and today's last two topics, that will be the equation and the uniform circular motion. So we are going to we have seen already this first equation of motion, but fastly I will revise you this first equation of motion, and for that we are going to draw the graph. Okay, so we will start drawing the graph, and you will all have to draw with me at your home in your book. Okay. So we are going to start drawing the graph. This is not necessary, so I will erase that. Okay, and this is also not necessary, so I will also erase that. But you can say that it is a x-axis and it is a y-axis. In x-axis we are going to take the time, and time will represented by the t. Okay, in previous lecture we have seen the short symbol regarding all the quantities that we have already studied in the previous lectures. For example, we have seen that distance will be or displacement will be represented by the s. Okay, I am going to give you the table here, so you can remember distance or displacement will be represented by the s. Velocity, sorry, initial velocity will be represented by the u. Final velocity will be represented by the v. Acceleration will be represented by a. Okay, we are going to see that, and also the time will represented by the short quantity, short symbol t. On the particular graph we have seen that and here we take velocity, in which we have taken the initial velocity at here. Okay, because if I take the initial velocity 0, then obviously u will be considered as a u, means symbol u, not u. Okay, so symbol u is equal to 0, then it cannot be considered at any amount, so we cannot calculate into the any kind of equation. So for that I need some kind of value at the initial stage, and therefore I have taken the initial velocity at a some amount. Okay, then we have drawn the graph. It reaches the final velocity, and that final velocity will be represented by here. Okay, if I draw the line that, and here I draw the line like that, Also I have to draw line like here. Now I'm going to give each and every point some name. So here I give you O, A, B, C, D and E. Okay, this is the easiest points name you can give. Okay, all the points I have given the name. Now I will give you the basic concept here, that it is called as the initial velocity U, it is called the final velocity V, okay, and this will be considered as the T. Okay, hope you all get that. Now if I want to measure this CB, how can I measure this CB? So for that you can see that U is represented straight line from the AB. So AB and OE is always equal. Okay, so we can consider that this both is same, this both is also same. So it is T, it is also T and it is also T. So if this is U, okay, you can say that it is also U here. Okay, and now if I want to measure the CB, so how can I measure that? If I can minus CA minus BA, then it gives us the change in the velocity. It is called as the V minus U. Okay, so all the quantities, so if the CB is V minus U, because we can minus V minus U, then it gives us this short line. Okay, and this line is same as this. So if this is V minus U, then it is also V minus U. Okay, these are all the quantities we have represented here, and afterwards we have started the first derivation of the equation, in which we are going to start again that equation. Okay, first equation we have to derive is that again I am repeating this first equation because we are going to derive the second equation and it will also consist the first equation's derivation. So that's why I am repeating this. Okay, now basic formula for the velocity, or we can say that for the acceleration is what? So acceleration's basic formula is that acceleration is represented by change in the velocity upon time. We have seen this lots of time. Okay, so for that we are going to consider acceleration will be represented by A. Now what amount of change happened in the velocity? So you can see it here, it is a V minus U, the change is happened. Okay, because you reached the final velocity from the initial velocity. So whatever the amount you have changed during this velocity, that's we have to measure. And so for that we can write that A is equal to V minus U and upon time, time is equal to T. So it gives us the AT is equal to V minus U. And if I replace U onto LHS side, then it can represent V is equal to U plus AT. And this is the basic first equation of motion. Now we are going to define and derive second equation of motion. And for that I need to measure the displacement. How can I measure the displacement, or how can I measure the distance, or how can I measure the traveling area from that graph? So if you can see that I have traveled from O point to E point, then I goes to E point to C point, and then I will stay at that. So if I measure the whole area, if I measure this whole area, means OECA, if I measure this whole area, that will give us the basic structure for the displacement that I have done during the traveling. Okay, if I measure this whole area, how can I measure this whole area? So measuring this whole area gives us the displacement, that what have I done. So for measuring this displacement, I am going to write the basic structure of the area. So what I have to find? I have to find the area okay, I have to find the area of OECA. How can I find the area of OECA? This is the question that we are going to sort out now. If you can see it here, you can see the two things that is present here. Okay? If we want to measure the area, and if we measure this area, then we can get the displacement, and displacement can be categorized for displacement, and displacement will be symbolized by the S. So we can find the S by separating this whole triangle or whole area into a two parts, and that will be the two parts are, first you can see it here. So if I separate this along, that this gives us the rectangle. Now I am going to put all the names O, E, B and A. First part is that, you can see it from here. Okay. So if I measure this whole part, okay, that gives us the rectangle's area. And what is this rectangle's area? If you can see it here, U. Okay, you can see it. It is a U. And what is that? It is a T. Okay. And what is the second part? You can see it from here. So if I separate this rectangle part from that, we are left with the triangle. And what is this triangle? If we draw the triangle, here we will draw the triangle. You can see that. Okay. Now if I giving the name of all the triangles point E, C and B. Okay. Is it clear everyone? Okay. Now we'll put all the things. So you can see that it is a T. So EB is also same to same. Then it is a T. Then EB is equal to T. Now if I measure this whole area, okay, this signifies us the T, and this signifies us the change, and that will be V minus U. Okay. I hope you all get it. So how can I measure the area? If I measure the rectangle's area and if I measure the triangle's area, so I am going to write that here. S is equal to area of rectangle plus area of triangle. Okay, we'll put all the values. How can I measure the area of rectangle? How can I measure the area of rectangle? You can see that here. If I measure the length into breadth, that gives us the area. So it is given by the UT plus. How can I measure the area of triangle? You can see it here. So I can measure the area of triangle because it is a 90-degree triangle. I can measure with the 1/2 base into height. How can I measure the right angle triangle's area? 1/2 base into height. Okay. So it gives us 1/2. Now what is the base? You can see it here, base is the T. And what is the height? It is V minus U. Now you can see that here I have with me V minus U. So how can I replace this V minus U? So you can see it here. You can see that from here, look carefully where I am getting this V minus U's value, okay, because it erupts the whole equation. So I am going to simplify that equation. And how can I simplify that equation? Getting the value from here. Okay, now I am going to take the V minus U is equal to AT, because we have already gets us in the first equation. So if I replace the V minus U with the AT, then it gives us the equation like that: UT plus 1 by 2 into T. V minus U will be replaced by AT, and that gives us the UT plus 1 by 2. Now what am I going to do? T into T, what happened? X into X, what happened? X square. X, Y into Y, what happened? Y square. So here T into T, what happened? T square. So it gives us the 1 by 2 AT square, and that will be called as the second equation of motion. Here I have to write this for S. Okay, so this is the way you can find out the first equation. This is the way you can find out the second equation. Okay, we are going to see the third equation, and that will be the last equation's derivation in the motions chapter. Okay, again I will repeat that first equation and second equation because it is very complicated. If whenever I am giving you explanation about that, you can see that it is very easy, but whenever you are going to do that, then you will think that it is very complicated. So again I will repeat that first is the equation for the acceleration. We are going to find the acceleration by the change in the velocity upon time. You can put all the values and you can get the first equation very easily. Now what happened when we are going to start the second equation's derivation? We need to find the area regarding the displacement. So for that we are going to do we have to do the division of this whole part, and we are going to divide that part into the sub categories. That will be the rectangle and the triangle. If we are going to measure the rectangle's area, that can be given us by the UT, and if we measure the triangle's area, that can be given us by 1 by 2 T into V minus U. Afterwards what happened? Then we put all the values, then we get V minus U. Now V minus U makes our equation very complicated. So we have to simplify that, and how we can simplify that? From using the V minus U's value from the equation 1, and that is the AT, and if we replace with AT V minus U, then we can get UT plus 1 by 2 AT square. Okay, this is the way you can derive the whole equation. Okay, now we are going to see the last equation, but I am giving you a 3 seconds of time, so you can take the screenshot of that, and afterwards we will start the third equation of motion derivation. Okay, I will give you a 3 seconds of time. So I hope you all have taken the screenshot regarding that. Now we are going to erase the triangle and rectangles part because we are going to derive the third equation there. Okay. Now we don't want this triangle and rectangle separation, because now we are going to create this whole trapezium area, because you can see that it covers the 1, 2, 3 and 4 sides, and they are not equal at all, and they are not at a same angle at all. So we can say that when the 4 sides are there, that is not same, that is not equal, that is not on a same angle, that can be said to be it is a trapezium. So we are going to measure this trapezium's area for the last equation, and that will be very easy. So how can I measure this trapezium's area? Trapezium's area for the third equation. So for the third equation, trapezium's area can be measured by using the equation. Here you can see the equation that OE, trapezium's area, will be also called as the displacement, because it covers the whole area, and that will be called as the displacement, and displacement will be signified by the symbol S. So how can I measure this? So OE multiply by OE plus, we can say that AC, okay, first OE plus AC, when we are covering this trapezium's area here to here, okay, one OE, EC and CA and AO, these four sides gives us the trapezium, and then we are going to discuss that what is the formula for trapezium. So for that you need to put all the values, that OE plus AC into OA divided by 2. That is the formula to put all the values of the trapezium, and you can find the area of the trapezium by using this side multiply by this side divide into that side divided by 2. Now we are going to put all the values here. Okay, first value of OE. What is the value of OE? You can see it here. U plus what is the value of AC? AC is the full value, and full value will be represented by the final velocity, and that will be V into OA, and that will be represented by the T. Now we are going to put divide by 2. Now if you can see it here, this equation will already resolved in the previous session. But what am I going to do? Now I am going to replace this T with some quantity. If you can see that, if we are going to replace this T with some quantity, and that can we see it here, okay, from the first equation. Okay, so for the first equation we are going to replace this. Okay, if I put the T's value like that, T is equal to V minus U upon A. Okay, so from here we are going to put this value here. Okay, it gives us the next step, and that will be U plus V into V minus U upon 2A. Okay, here is S is also present. Okay, now what happened? You can see that it is a factor, that one is a x plus y and one is a x minus y. If we are merging that factor, then it gives us the x square minus y square. So it is same. So we can write V square minus U square upon 2A is equal to S. Now this 2A will come on that side. So we can write that here 2AS is equal to V square minus U square, and this is the third and the final formula for the motions equation. Okay, and this is very, very important in the syllabus. Okay, and you all have to calculate this trapezium's area, second equation of motion, first equation of motion, and also you have to write this 3 times in your homework. Okay, now I am going to erase this all concept, and afterwards I am going to give you a homework. Now will last topic is remain, and we are going to see that it is called as the uniform circular motion. So what is the uniform circular motion? If some of the object or some of the body will travel on the same path and return back to the original position where it started its motion, then it is said to be it is doing the circular motion. But what happened when the circular motion is happening in the same amount of time and same amount of distance? It will consume the same amount of time to cover the same path of the distance. Then we can say that it is doing the uniform circular motion. So this will be the last concept. If you want to see the uniform circular motion, you can see it around you. The clock is moving in the uniform circular motion because it takes the same amount of time in the same amount, and it covers the same amount of distance and return back to the original position. Okay, so these are the basic examples for the uniform circular motion. If the athlete starts to running on the ground, then it travels on the whole ground and it came back to that position. So it will also said to be the examples of circular motion, but it is not said to be the uniform circular motion, because if we want to measure the uniform circular motion, then it needs the equal amount of time in equal amount of distance. Then we can say that it is the uniform circular motion. Okay, so that's it for today. We are going to give you homework, but I think this is very, very important, so I am not going to erase that. Okay, so you can take again this basic structure from here. Okay, and if you want to write, so I am not going to erase that. Okay, so I am giving you homework orally. Okay, so first of all you need to write these three equation with this graph. So you have to draw this graph 3 times, and then afterwards you will you have to define this 1, 2 and 3 equations of motion. And okay, so that's it for today. Thank you very much for this lecture. If you had any kind of doubt, you can ask me on WhatsApp. Okay, till then, bye bye everyone, and take care of yourself.